Hello, everyone. Welcome to our question and answer virtual session. I have a link here on the screen that you can use to submit your questions. So go ahead and type the tiny URL into like a browser or on your phone and submit your question, and we will start answering them. There is no presentation during this session. It is just question and answer. So if you don't have any questions, you don't have to stay. But if you do, go ahead and start submitting them.
So just a reminder to there'll be counselors in this session, and we will be utilizing the link that's on the screen to answer those questions. So please don't put questions in the chat. Please make sure you're utilizing the link on the screen to ask a question.
All right, our first question is, if my daughter selects biomed pathway and an alternate as biology honors, can she take computer science as an alternate but goes under elective? She can select computer science as an alternate for biomed because in the event that she gets principles of biomed and computer science, we're not going to know which one is a priority based upon the course request. So we may delete the class that she actually wanted as a first choice. So it's better if she puts computer science as an alternate for biomed, because students can put more than one alternate for a class. So she can put bio honors and computer science as an alternate for biomed.
The next question is, can students choosing biomed also take OC Bio in their course request? For right now, if a student is picking biomed, we are trying to get the system to put them in the biomed class to work as their science course. So right now, if your student is primarily interested in taking that biomed course, that will meet that science requirement, and they are not eligible to take science at this time. If anything changes, we will let you know, but as of this time, if they are trying to take biomed, they should not have any other science course in their primary course request.
The next question is asking about our online courses, specifically English 10 on this question answer session is for incoming freshmen. So incoming freshmen cannot take English 10 honors or chemistry honors to begin with. However, we are no longer offering English 10 honors and chemistry honors online.
Okay, the next question is, can we change the electives once the school starts? So this year we have a different policy and we're not doing schedule changes. So Once the course selection closes at the end of January, students won't be able to change their requested courses.
It looks like there was a follow-up question to the biomed question. So if a student wants to take biomed, that would obviously meet that life science requirement, and that would take the place of biology or biology honors. However, if a student has biomed in their primary course request, they do need to have an alternate, and the alternate that is associated with biomed should be biology or biology honors. In the case that your student doesn't get biomed, they need to take biology or biology honors, so they should have that as an alternate with biomed.
The next question is it possible to add electives or a different course to fill the flex period in Aries? So students are able to request 7 classes. They do not need to request a flex. 6 classes and a flex are a standard is what a standard schedule is. However, if they wanted to select 7 classes, they could, and we will try to make that work. However, we cannot guarantee 7 classes. So 6 classes and a flex is standard, but students are able to request 7 classes, and we do try our best to give them the 7 classes that they are requesting. It just depends on what kind of classes they're requesting and things like that.
The next question is, can a student choose engineering as a primary and computer science as an alternate? Yes, a student can have another PLTW as an alternate course. However, it's important to keep in mind that PLTW courses are pretty competitive to get into, so it's not always the best alternate, but it can be an alternate. So our students can only select one PLTW course in their primary course selections. But they can use another PLTW as an alternate, so that would be okay.
Our next question is about freshman orientation. Yes, there is a freshman orientation happening at the beginning of next school year. Keep your eye out on your email. You will get emails as to the date and when that's happening.
The next question is asking, if a student picked business, what can be picked during the flex period, as she doesn't take a world language in Mountain House High School? I'm not exactly sure where the flex period is coming from, or the question of flex period. So students do not have to request a flex period. They could select 2 electives in their freshman year. So if they wanted to select intro to business and then 1 other elective, they can do that. If they're not taking a world language, maybe they want to take a visual or performing art, something like band or choir. They're perfectly able to do that. They don't have to pick a flex period.
Okay, so the next question is, if my kid takes biomed in year 1, can they shift to CS in year 2 if they think biomed is not what they want to pursue as a career? So yes, they can switch over. They just can't do both of them. But 10th grade is the last year to complete a pathway.
We have a question asking if students can take dual enrollment in early college this year. So students, while they're in 8th grade, they cannot take any outside courses for Mountain House High School purposes. So if a student is interested in early college or dual enrollment, they will have those opportunities, but we can't do anything with like Delta College until a student is officially a student at Mountain House High School. Any family that has questions about early college, there will actually be a separate information session about that. And I believe Mrs. Aslami will send out that information in February. So early college, we won't be able to address any questions today because there will be an entire separate session just dedicated to early college at a later date.
The next question is asking about the Language Academy courses approved by Mountain House High School. We have several Language Academy courses that are approved through principal certification, where when we add the courses to the high school transcript, they are principal certified. That means that those courses meet A through G eligibility. And because we accept it as a language, colleges will also see it as a language, given the principal certification and added to the high school transcript. So yes, they will meet the criteria.
Our next question is, if a student is interested in a career related to space and astronomy, what pathways should the student take? So we don't necessarily have pathways related to space and astronomy, but we probably do have some clubs. You could find the club list on the Mount S High School website. And we also have a variety of science courses like Earth and Space Science, Chemistry, AP Environmental Science, courses like that.
Any student that is taking one of our approved Language Academy courses, there's nothing that student needs to do at this time. When they get into the high school, their teacher or admin of that particular school will send our registrar their grades, and then we can update the MHHS records, but we can't do anything right now. We have to wait for them to be a student at Mountain House High School to do that.
Okay, next question is, can a student select engineering as a main elective and biomed as an alternate? Yes, they can choose engineering as the main elective and biomed as an alternate.
We have another question asking about if their student takes the Math Summer Skipper course, how can they get into the Math 2 honors class? For right now, a student that is interested in Math Summer Skipper, they will only have the opportunity to put Math 1 in their course selection. When they complete that Math Summer Skipper petition form, they will indicate if they want to move on to Math 2 or Math 2 honors once they've successfully completed Math 1. And then in the summer, the counselor will look at that list. We will see if your student successfully completed Math 1, and if so, we will move them to whatever course they indicated on that form. We will update their course request at that time.
Our next question is, should an honors class be completed prior to taking an AP? So without more information, the answer is sometimes. So if your student is interested in taking maybe the AP English class in 11th or 12th grade year, they don't have to take an honors class prior to that in order to be eligible to take the AP class. But taking the honors class would help prepare students for taking an AP class in a future year. So if they are interested in the advanced class, it would be a good idea to maybe try the honors version to see if they're actually prepared for the AP version. Now, some of our courses have prerequisites, like AP Biology, for example. So there are some AP classes that have specific prerequisites. And so in that case, you would need to make sure you're filling whatever prerequisite is required in order to sign up for the course. Prerequisites are listed in the course catalog. So the course catalog has descriptions for all of our courses. And if there is a prerequisite or a recommendation on what to take prior to taking that class, it's going to be listed in there. So that is the course catalog. We will post the link in the chat. Our next question is, can FlexPeriod be used for world language? So without further information, I'm going to try and answer this as best as I can. So if you have a flex period, that is a free period. So that means you can sign up for another elective. So if you don't want to have a flex, you can choose to take Spanish, Chinese, or French here on campus at Mountain House. We also have our principal certified language academies. So maybe your student is taking their world language through one of our principal certified language academies. If that's the case, sure, they can sign up for have a free period during the day so they have some extra time to work on that language.
Next question is asking about the DECA chapter and if the student was doing engineering. So if the student's doing engineering and wanted to DECA, that wouldn't work out. Business pathway students are allowed to do DECA, but not engineering. So they would need to be in business in order to do DECA.
So they can be in the business or the culinary pathway.
We have another question. If a student is currently in accelerated math, when they go in to enter their courses in the system, they'll notice they have Math 1 already listed. For those students that are currently in Math 1, those students are eligible to move into Math 2 or Math 2 honors. And to update that, they could email their counselor, or the counselors have been going into classes and we've been updating those as we're in those classes doing the presentation. But if your student is currently, and those are only for students currently in Math 1, and they need to be moved into Math 2 or Math 2 honors, they can email their counselor and we can make those updates. And our counselor information is all listed on the high school website. So if you go into the high school website, under the counseling home section, you will see a list of counselors and our emails, and we are assigned to students by the student's last name.
Our next question is, my kid is passionate about the biomed pathway. What if my kid does not get the biomed pathway? If your kid does not get the biomed pathway, don't worry, your student will have the opportunity to start the pathway their 10th grade year and will still be able to complete it by the time they graduate from Mountain House High School.
Our next question is asking about how can our students sign up for 8 classes? You can't, it's not possible. You're eligible to take up to 7 classes, but we only guarantee 6. We certainly try to add students into a 7th class if they're interested in it, but there is no option to take an 8th period or like an 8th class. So.
Really quickly, there's a ton of information coming out for early college. Your decision to enroll or not enroll in early college will not impact your course request in any way, shape, or form. So if we can just hold on any early college questions, more information will be coming out in the next few weeks. There will be a presentation and informative session in the first couple weeks of February.
The next question is, my counselor already put me in Math 2 honors and I'm planning on doing summer skippers, so all I have to do is attend and I don't have to change my math later on as well, right? So no one should have changed your math if you're not currently in Math 1. So you should be filling out a petition, and on the petition you'll select whether you want Math 2 or Math 2 honors.
Our next question is regarding honors courses and whether students can take 3 honors courses. Yes, your student can take 3 honors courses if they choose so, freshman year. However, I would not recommend it. High school is a transition for a lot of students, and it can be quite different than middle school. I would probably recommend starting with 1 honors course, making sure that your student can handle the workload, and then 10th grade year, if they can, then they could take 2 honors courses and so forth. Also keep in mind, some students will enroll in extracurricular activities, which can make your life really time consuming. So keep that in mind when your students enrolling in honors courses.
The next question is asking if they could sign up for 2 PTLW courses in the primary course request, and the answer is no. You can only sign up for 1. You can only sign up for 1 PLTW course in your primary course request. It also looks like there's another question regarding alternates. You will have the opportunity, or students will have the opportunity to sign up for 5 alternates. And I've been encouraging students, you need to at least sign up for 2 alternates per elective, but you have the opportunity to sign up for 5. So since we're not offering schedule changes in the fall, if I were a student, I would put 5 on there, because that way you're guaranteeing yourself a really good schedule, a schedule that you like. So take advantage. I would sign up for 5, but at least 2 per elective.
Our next question is, how many online courses can be selected as an elective? So I'm going to direct you to the course, the course list, and you can review our online course options on the course list. As long as you are eligible to sign up for the course as a 9th grader, you can choose, You have 2 elective opportunities, so you can choose up to 2 online courses.
Another person is asking about our mandatory core subjects. So in 9th grade, the mandatory subjects a student will be taking would be English, science, math, global studies, health, and PE. So that would be 5. So then outside of that, students could make 1 or 2 more selections to add to that list.
Next question is, can students in biomed pathway take AP biology during later years like junior year? Asking this question. Yeah, so if students take either biology honors, or principles of biomed, they will be eligible to meet the prerequisite for AP bio in years to come. If they didn't take bio, it would not prevent them from taking AP bio if they took principles of biomed instead.
Our next question is, suppose if my student took Telugu from outside, can we take 2 electives other than world language? Yes. So your student has an opportunity to take up to 2 electives. If they're already taking their world language outside of Mountain House High School, you can choose what other 2 electives you're interested in taking.
Our next question is, if a student takes digital arts, what clubs can he join? He can join many clubs if he chooses. We offer a variety of clubs. Students can find our club list by going to the Mountain House High School website and going to the extracurriculars tab.
Just as a reminder for anyone that has entered just recently, we are not taking questions in the chat. It's really hard to follow that. If you can use the link on the screen to ask your questions, please.
Our next question is, my primary interest is biomed pathway. I selected biomed as primary and computer science as the alternate. Yes, that works. Another biomed question. My student wants to take biomed. If she doesn't get in, she wants her elective to be replaced by bio honors or biology, and the pathway to be CS or engineering. How should she order and associate her alternatives? So if she doesn't get biomed and she wants CS as the backup, I would put principles of biomed as your primary, and you're going to use computer science essentials as the alternate for biomed, and you can also put bio honors as an alternate for biomed. So I would put both bio honors and computer science as the alternate to biomed pathway in this situation.
The next question is, if a student is planning to take Math 1 summer skipper program, should we request counselor now to update? No. So all of you should have received Dr. Auerbach's email today in regards to the Math 1 skipper program. If the link is not working for you, you have to actually go into Parent Square and click on the link, and it will work. If you're clicking the link from the email, it will not work. In that form to sign up to take the Math 1 Summer Skipper course, there will be an option to select whether your student wants to be in Math 2 or Math 2 Honors once they have completed the course. And once all of Math 1 Skipper courses are completed, we will update your student's course request to reflect the math that they want to go into. There's nothing to do right now if they're joining the Math 1 Skipper program. And then the next question is, can parents get one-on-one time with high school counselors for course requests? We are going into all of the 8th grade classrooms this week, and we will be available during curriculum fair and a little bit before. Those times will be announced, and counselors will also be going into classrooms for a second time at the end of the month. And those are all the opportunities that 8th graders have to ask one-on-one questions with counselors. We are not taking appointments for one-on-one here at the high school.
I wanted to clarify because I think this might be confusing. If you are choosing biomed as your primary course, that is going to meet your science requirement. The only thing that should be associated with that course as an alternate should be biology or biology honors. You could definitely put computer science as an alternate, but don't associate that course so don't associate any other course with biomed. Because if you don't get biomed, you have to take biology or biology honors. Okay, so you could still put CS in your alternates. Just make sure you don't have that associated with that biomed course.
The next question is, what is other alternate for students that pick intro to business? Any of the alternates, if they're not picking a language, they can select a language to be an alternate. For students that are trying to go straight into a 4-year after high school, they need 2 years of a world language and also a year of a visual or performing art. So if they don't get into intro to business, maybe they can complete a language or an art or something of that sort. So there are lots of elective options. And I will link the anticipated course list so that you can see all those options.
Our next question is, when will students get their final class schedule? Is there a specific date? So the date hasn't been released yet, but schedules are given during walkthrough registration at the end of July. So that typically happens that last week in July. It's important for students to be here for walkthrough registration and for their freshman orientation. So I would plan my travel plans to try and ensure that I'm back for that last week in July, so you're able to attend those things.
Our next question is, do we need to take alternatives for language and visual arts classes? Yes, we cannot guarantee any elective or any foreign language or visual arts class. Please select up to, or more, the more the better. Please select at least 2 alternates for a foreign language or visual arts class. And our next course was, I wasn't able to select a physical science. So 9th grade students are not allowed to take a physical science. 9th grade year students are required to take a life science, which is biology, biology honors, or that principles of biomed course.
Our next question is, can a student take both visual arts and world language in the same year in 9th grade? Yes, students have the opportunity to take up to 2 electives. One of them could be in world language class, like Spanish 1, for example, and the other one can be a visual arts class, like ceramics 1, for example. So 2 elective opportunities are available. What your students want to choose is up to them. Our next question is the robotics club only available to engineering track students? I mean, I'm not actually sure on this one, but there is information and a contact listed on the website. So I would encourage you to reach out to the club advisor for robotics to ask them that question, or potentially one of our other counselors on here may have the answer for that one. So I'll leave it open to them.
The next question is, I don't see a biomed as an option. Is it biology? In the anticipated course list, it's under electives, and then it would be under the biomedical science, and it would be called Principles of Biomedical Science Honors. That's the full course title.
There is another question about if their student has Math 2 honors in their course request, does that mean they automatically get it? And the answer is no. So we cannot guarantee any honors level courses. So even if your kiddo has that in their schedule, so even if they have like Math 2 honors, English 9 honors, or bio honors, we will do our best to give them those courses, but honors level courses are not guaranteed. So just keep that in mind as well.
Our next question is, If the student is getting lower grades in math, like C and D, will he be eligible for Math Skipper? Will it get harder in ninth grade if the student already takes Math 1 Summer Skipper? So if your child is earning a C or a D in math, in 8th grade math, Math 1 Summer Skipper is not the appropriate placement for them. This is a extremely rigorous course, and you need to be a highly motivated, independent learner and already have a strong foundational skill for math. If your student is currently earning a C or a D in in 8th grade math, they should be taking Math 1 in 9th grade year. Math 1 Summer Skipper is taking a full year of math in about 3 months. So if your student struggles in math, this would not be the appropriate placement for them. Our next question is, can you please explain the flex period concept versus 7 periods? So at Mountain House High School, we do have the option to sign up for 7 classes. However, if students take 6 classes and a flex period every single year, they're going to be able to earn enough credit to graduate from high school, and they will have enough opportunity to earn A through G requirements. So a 7th class is never needed. It's just an option. We do not guarantee 7 classes. We only guarantee 6 classes in a flex to students. So it's very possible in 9th grade year that your student may request a 7th class that they may not get. They may end up with a flex period even if they wanted that 7th period class, because we are a very large campus, and unfortunately we cannot accommodate every request that's submitted. If you are interested in 7 periods or having 7 classes, certainly add that to your course request, but it's not guaranteed.
The next question is asking, how are pathways different from mandatory electives? Is a pathway similar to elective? So pathway courses, I know that we distinguish them as pathway courses, but they are just electives. So intro to business, intro to engineering, computer science, principles of biomed, all of these like pathway courses are just elective courses. The reason we say it's a pathway, because if you complete the sequence of courses in that subject area, you do get to earn a cord at graduation. However, with that said, we have tons of students that don't take any pathway courses or don't complete a pathway, and that's perfectly fine. It does not mean that if you don't select a pathway, you cannot pursue a similar major once you are applying to college. Sometimes students like to do pathways just to show colleges that they have an interest in something. However, that doesn't mean that if you don't, you have less of a chance of getting into college. So essentially, pathway courses are just elective courses. And then the next question is, can students select a second pathway course for PLTW? Students are only allowed to have one PLTW pathway course.
When we say PLTW, we're talking about computer science, engineering, and biomed. For those 3 pathways, you can only choose one. You can double up in other areas. So if I wanted to take computer science and intro to business, that is allowed. But for computer science, engineering, and biomed, you must select only one.
Our next question is, should students select visual arts as an alternative for world language, as this is A through G requirement? Your student can absolutely select visual arts as an alternative for a world language if they want. 1 year of a visual and performing arts is required for A through G or for your eligibility, and 2 years for world language is also required. 3 is recommended. However, your student can take visual arts their 10th or 11th or 12th grade year if they want. And our next question is, are there any courses you offer during the summer for kids? The only course that the high school offers for students to join is the Summer Skipper, which is an advanced level math class offered to students who want to take Math 1 over summer, and then they could take Math 2 their freshman year of high school.
Our next question is, if a student chooses computer science pathway, will Digital Arts 1 or Art 1 be taken as an elective for non-PLTW pathways? Will it be related to his main pathway? So I'm kind of confused by your question, but I'm going to attempt to answer it. So if I don't answer it fully, please resubmit. So your child can choose to take computer science essentials as one of their electives, and then they can choose to take digital arts or Art 1 as their second elective if they want to. Because digital arts and Art 1 is not one of those non-PLTW pathways, they can be doubled up, right? So you can do computer science pathway and digital arts pathway. You're allowed to do those together. Will it be related to the main pathway? Digital arts 1 and Art 1 are their own sequence of courses, not necessarily related to the computer science pathway. It's its own independent entity, so they're not necessarily related.
We're getting a ton of questions in regards to having 8 classes, that Aries is allowing 15 classes to be entered. So Aries does allow you to put in 15 primary courses. That doesn't mean that you should. You should only have 7 courses. And the need for 8, I don't know where the need comes from, but you can pick 7 classes each year. That's it.
Can I use world language class with performing art as an alternate? Yes. The only thing that you cannot use as an alternate class is leadership. Okay, so all those other electives, you can pretty much use them as an alternate for whatever you wish.
The next question is asking if a student selects biomed as a primary pathway and then selects engineering or computer science as an alternate, do they have to select biology or biology honors as an alternate? So they don't necessarily have to put biology or biology honors as an alternate from principles of biomed. However, if they don't get principles of biomed, they will have to, and they do get, say, engineering, they will have to get rid of another elective. So bio or bio honors should be an elective, an alternate for something. And if that means that you're just putting, and that way, at least we're not deleting a class that you want to take, if you have maybe 3 electives in there. So I would suggest that biology or biology honors be an alternate for a course if principles of biomed is an primary course.
Our next question is, can students take biology and the business pathway at the same time? Yeah, your student can definitely take biology and business pathway at the same time. If you are asking if your student can take the biomed pathway and the business pathway at the same time, your student can do that as well. Business is not a PLTW pathway, so we allow students to take both of those at the same time.
Our next question is flex period and electives, are they the same? Does flex period always a leisure period? So if you take a flex period, you have a free period. It's not an elective. You don't earn credit for the class. There's no teacher you're assigned to. It's just a free period. So if your flex period is scheduled during first period of the day, you or your student can start late. So they can start their day at second period. If the flex period is given to you 8th period, the last period of the day, then they can leave early. They can leave after 7th period. If flex is given somewhere in one of the middle periods of the day, you have to remain on campus. So that's how the flex period is going to work. It's not an elective because it's not a class, it's a free period. However, when you're registering for your classes in Aries, if you want a flex period, you do have to add it. So it's going to count as one of your 7. So if you want a free period, if you want a flex period, you're going to search for flex in Aries and you're going to add it to your course request. And as far as it being a leisure period, that depends on how the student uses it. On some days, maybe they do want to take a break. But some days, it would probably be a good idea to use that time to work on homework or study for a test.
Our next question is, what is a flex period? A flex period is a free period throughout the day. Could be any period. Students can focus on themselves, study for exams, work on homework. It does count. It doesn't count as a class in that you get credits for it, but it does take the place of a class.
Next
And then the next question is, sorry, Mrs. Islami. The next question is, can I take dance instead of PE in freshman year? No. So all freshmen are required to take a freshman PE class. Dance does not count as freshman PE. Your student can take dance as a second year of PE.
Next question is, if Math 1 Skippers is not an opportunity for my student in the summer, what can my student take in the summer to prepare for ninth grade? So unfortunately, the only thing students are able to do during the summer is Math 1 Skipper. And if that's not an option for your child because they're not ready for it or they've already done it, then unfortunately there's nothing else that they can do until they are officially a high school student. The next question is, my daughter wants to do 4 years of choir, but she is unable to fit the language course this year. So UCs recommend 3 years of language. The requirement is only 2 through level 2 of a world language. So if they want to do choir this year, next year they'll have more opportunity in their schedule, more flexibility in their schedule to be able to add that language course in addition to choir. So on our website, and I will link it, we have some potential 4-year plans for students that want to do something like choir and also meet all their A through G requirements.
Our next question is, what does an alternative course mean? An alternative course is a secondary choice to your primary. So if we can't get you, or we can't add you to your primary course, you'll be added to your alternative course.
So lots of questions and concerns about biomed and not getting biomed. The reality of the situation is that, you know, we're a very large campus now, and not every ninth grader is going to get the biomed pathway if they request it. However, your student will have an opportunity to request it again in 10th grade. And as a 10th grader, they're going to have priority in over all other students to join that biomed pathway. So if it doesn't happen for them in 9th grade year, they're going to get an opportunity in 10th grade to take the biomed pathway, and they'll still have time to complete the full pathway. So we understand that there is a lot of stress and anxiety when registering for classes and students being worried about potentially not getting their first choice. We do our best to give everybody their first choice, but it's just not going to happen. Just keep in mind that if you don't get your pathway of choice in 9th grade year, you're going to have priority in 10th grade year for the pathway. So, you know, it might be the case that you don't get the pathway that you're looking for in 9th grade year, but you're going to have priority in 10th grade year. So please keep that in mind.
Our next question is regarding sports and tryouts for sports, specifically volleyball. You can find information on sports and tryouts on the Mountain House High School website. Off the top of my head, I don't know when pre-out or if there are pre-tryouts or anything like that, but you could find more information under the extracurricular tab on the Mountain House High School website.
So again, more questions about biomed and how to enter it in Aries to get the highest likelihood. So if your student wants to have a counselor check their course request in Aries, we're going to be attending classes in the end of January before it's due. Okay, so I think it's the 26th, 27th, and 28th, if I'm remembering correctly, that we're going to be back on the 8th grade sites. So your child should have their course request entered in Aries by that time. They can show the counselor their Aries screen to make sure that they entered their biomed and their alternates correctly. Okay, so have your child review the information that we already gave and put it into Aries. And then when we return at the end of January, they can show us their screen and we will review it to make sure that it is entered correctly.
The next question is asking about whether ninth graders can do 2 pathways. Yes, they can do 2 pathways. They just cannot do 2 PLTW, which is Project Lead the Way pathways. And those pathways are computer science, engineering, and biomed. So if your student wanted to do computer science and business, engineering and digital art, those are totally fine. They can request that. And if it works in their schedule, we will be happy to give it to them. However, they cannot request engineering and computer science or biomed and engineering or something of that nature.
Our next question is, can you explain about the health elective and in which grades they are recommended? So I don't fully understand this question, but if you're referring to the health class, health is a class that all freshmen are required to take. It's a 1-semester class. 1 semester students will be doing health, and then the next semester students will be doing global studies or vice versa.
Our next question is, if a student selects beginning orchestra as elective and continues in this elective for another 3 years, can they still do world language outside? I mean, if they're selecting beginning orchestra, that's only a 1 elective, so they do still have space to take world language at Mountain House if they want to. However, yes, they can take world language for one of our principal certified language academies. All other like community college and non-MHHS courses, the policies are listed on the website. So you can go to counseling and non-MHHS to look at our outside course policies and how they can go about taking and what they can take and what will be articulated.
The next question is asking about specific instruments in orchestra. I don't necessarily have the answer about what specific instruments are being played in the different options. We do have curriculum fair on January 22nd in the evening, and that would be a great opportunity for parents and students to come and specifically ask questions from teachers teaching in the different pathways and the different electives. So I am going to encourage you to come to the curriculum fair and ask these more specific questions. The next question is asking about Math 2 honors not being honors for Area C. So when we talk about A through G eligibility, we are talking about what 4-year colleges, UCs, and CSUs specifically are looking for. And although Math 2 honors is an honors course at the high school where we give a weighted point, the UCs do not look at the course as an honors course. We are working to see if we can change that. However, at this time, it is not honors at the UC level. It is honors at the high school level. And then the next question is, does Mountain House High School have a club day? We do. In the beginning of in August, towards the end of the month, we do have a club day where all the clubs and their presidents and club members are out in the quad, where students are able to come and sign up and get more information about the different clubs that are being offered at Mountain House High School.
Our next question is biology or biology honors considered an alternate for the principles of biomed science class? So if you are registering for the principles of biomed science honors class and you don't get that, if you want to have biology honors as the alternate, I would put biology honors as the alternate, because our default option, if you don't get principles of biomed, is going to be regular biology. So if you would prefer the honors version, yes, add biology honors as an alternate for principles of biomed science honors. If you are happy with just taking biology, if you don't get the principles of biomed class, that's going to be the default option, so you don't have to put that in as an alternate.
Our next few questions are regarding flex period. So a flex period is a free period throughout the day. It could be any period of the day. It does take the place of a class. And it is, so at Mount House High School, we offer 7 classes. We only guarantee 6 classes. Sometimes students don't get 7 classes for whatever reason. Maybe there's a conflict with the student schedule, or maybe classes fill up. If they don't select enough alternates, then they will be given a flex period. And it is optional for some students. Maybe some students decide to take a flex period. Maybe they want that extra free time to focus on themselves, to study for exams, and that's totally fine too.
The next question is asking a question about if they do something like a performing arts or a dance class outside of the high school, can they get credit for it? Unfortunately not. We will not be able to issue credit for like dance classes outside of the high school. And then the next question is, if we are taking a sport such as tennis, will that count for PE credit so that we do not have to do PE? If you are doing 3 seasons of a sport at Mountain House High School, you can waive your second year of PE. However, all freshmen will be taking freshman PE. The next question is, in the course request folder, how do we sign up for a pathway? So on the anticipated course list, each pathway has like that first course in the pathway. As long as you put in that first course in the pathway in your course request, it is our assumption that you are signing up for the pathway. And then the next year you can sign up for the next course. And then the following question is, if required primary course was not mapped in 9th grade, but got mapped from 10th to 12th grade, will they be eligible for the capstone? So if students are starting a pathway in 10th grade, they will be able to finish the pathway and complete the capstone and earn the cord, as long as they take all the necessary classes in that pathway. And if they need any support with that, once they are signing up for classes for 10th grade, we will be happy to answer those questions at that time. But yes, it is possible.
Our next question is, on what basis do you select who gets honors and who gets pathways? So we are not the giver of the honors or the pathway classes. The system does it randomly. So if you're interested in it, just make sure you have it in your course request. There is no, like, the system is not looking at 8th grade grades and categorizing students based on performance in a previous year. It's all randomized. The only way the system offers priority to anybody is grade level. Okay, so 12th grade is going to have priority over 11th, over 10th, over 9th. So higher grade levels do get priority in classes, but you know, when we're talking about English 9 honors, we're not having any seniors taking English 9 honors. So there's not higher level grades taking priority spots in that type of class. Same thing with bio honors. Our next question is Intro to Business a pathway that fills fast? So our, I would say, core pathways, computer science, biomed, engineering, business, all 4 of these typically get full every year. They are popular. So if you are interested in those pathways, make sure you put at least 2 alternates, just in case you can't get your first choice option. So yes, you know, our pathways are popular and they do get filled, usually to completion. So that is something to keep in mind. Our next question is, do we offer a pathway for law? So no, we don't have a specific pathway designed for law, but we do have some classes that would be a great opportunity for students who are interested in having a career in as a lawyer or in that field. Law and society would be a great one. Like criminal justice is open to students in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. That would be a good one. Psychology and sociology would be another one that is related. So there's a lot of opportunity to explore that interest further, but there's not a pathway designed for it right now.
And we'll say we have about 5 minutes left, and we'll be cutting off pretty close to 4. But our next question is, does digital art and art, are they considered the same category for college prep? Both of those courses, Art 1 and Digital Arts, both fulfill the E category for foreign language for A through G. Next question, if students misses the first 2 days of school, how does that affect them? You'll probably want to reach out to an administrator regarding this or the attendance office. I'm not exactly sure, and I don't want to give you the wrong information. Maybe some of the other counselors know, but I would recommend reaching out to the attendance office regarding the first couple of days of school. Our next question is, if a kid wants to do digital arts, Spanish, and music, can he get 3 electives? Not as a freshman. So freshmen, there are 5 core classes that all freshmen have to take. Students only have room for 2 electives.
Next question is it advisable for students to do early college, honors, AP courses, and sports? A lot of the time, it will not be possible for students to do early college and some of the sports. A few of our early college courses throughout the years are in person, and students are not able to select the online version of the class, so they're not all offered online. They're in person at the Delta College campus here in Mountain House, usually in the evenings after the Mountain House High School classes. So sometimes it's just not possible. Other times it could be possible. It's a difficult question to answer because it really depends on the kid and the honors class and the sport and what year and the program they're in. So sometimes it could. What I have found from my experience doing this for 8 years is that a lot of times students end up having to drop early college and doing a few Delta classes on their own so that they could pursue honors and AP at the high school and also the extracurricular, since colleges really do want well-rounded students and not just academically based students. So
All right, so we only have a couple minutes left. I'm going to go through some of these questions as quick as possible. We're not going to be able to hit everyone's question today. So if your question did not get answered, we're having another virtual session tomorrow. You're able to join, and we will be present at Curriculum Fair on Thursday, January 22nd, where you can answer questions. Do you get college credit for doing language outside of MHHS? Additionally, does doing Spanish 1 give college credit or just high school credit? So if you take Spanish 1 at the high school, you're earning high school credit only. It's a high school credit class. If you do a principal certified language academy, that is a high school level class. It's certified by our high school, so you'll only be earning high school credit. There is an opportunity to take a world language at a community college and earn community college credit if you want. If that's something you're interested in, talk to your counselor, because it may not be eligible to be added to your high school transcript, but it's still something that you could take to earn college credit if you wanted. Earlier, you said about 8th period. So yes, students can only sign up for 7 classes. Even though we have 8 periods in our day, one of those periods, 5th period, is success. So every student has 5th period success. This is not something you sign up for. This is assigned to every single student. It is our support class. You will learn more about success, but even though we have 8 periods, you can only sign up for 7 classes, because one of your periods, one of those 8, is going to be success, and you don't get a choice in that. How do we select orchestra that requires an audition? So any elective that may require an audition, just make sure you add the course to your course request. You'll be contacted at a later time to submit like an audition. Sometimes you just need to submit like a video recording of yourself. So for now, if you're interested in it, even if it requires an audition, just add it to your course request and you'll be contacted at a later time about anything else that we need from you. How do we get into clubs that align with my interest? So in August, at the end of August, there's going to be a club fair during Success and lunch. So students will have the opportunity to walk around to all of our clubs and speak with people who are participants of that club. And then they'll be able to sign up for anything that aligns with your interests. Okay, I'm going to do one more and then we are going to log off for the day. if you take Spanish and art, can you not take a pathway since that is 2 electives? Correct. So if you sign up for Spanish and art, that is fulfilling 2 of your elective opportunities. So therefore you don't have space for a pathway unless you were a student who was interested in the biomed pathway, because that's fulfilling your life science. So instead of taking bio or bio honors, you would be taking principles of biomed. That's part of the biomed pathway. And then you could also take Spanish and art. That's kind of a special one for biomed pathway. If your student is interested in one of the other elected or pathways, I would encourage them to take the pathway and then also Spanish or art, because Spanish or art can always be taken in a later year. It would be better to start the pathway if they have an interest in one of our pathways. So we have reached 4 o'clock. That is.
I did want to say one more thing. I think what's confusing, because I'm looking at the chat really quickly, I think what's confusing some families is in Aries, world language and visual performing art will fall into the same category. That doesn't mean that that's one class. It just means that that's the category they're falling into. So I wouldn't worry about the left side where it says English, government, art, world language. Just kind of ignore that when you're selecting your course request, and just make sure that you have 7 total and not necessarily focus on the left side.
All right, guys. So as I mentioned, tomorrow we have another virtual session available. If you did not get your question answered or you have more questions that come up, please join us tomorrow at that virtual session, or at the end of the month, January 22nd, Thursday in the evening. We will be present at Curriculum Fair. More information will be sent out as we get closer to that event. All of the resources are also posted on the website, so please utilize the resources available on